Hi, welcome to the Pro Bono Attorney Training for the Coerced Debt Relief Program offered by the Texas Coalition on Coerced Debt. This introduction is intended to orient you to the pro bono attorney's role in this new program. We are so grateful that you have decided to become trained in this area of law. Please know that your support means the world to us as a team, and we are eager to return that support through this pilot process. My name is Lena Martinez Wolfinger. I'm an attorney and the director of pro bono at Texas Appleseed. Before coming to Texas Appleseed, I worked as a staff attorney for legal aid for survivors of sexual assault. I didn't have much training coming into that job, but thanks to the veteran attorneys at TAP, Trala, and Lone Star Legal Aid, some of the same attorneys you'll be hearing from today, I was able to learn quickly how to lawyer in a new way that kept the unique needs of survivors centered in my legal work. Before Texas Appleseed, I also served as independent pro bono counsel in an asylum case. That asylum case was not only my first immigration case, but my first hearing ever as someone who went to law school specifically to do policy work. Now, I mention this because I want you to know that in addition to the team of experts you'll be hearing from today, you've also got folks on this team who know what it's like to feel unsure of whether your intellectual skills will translate into helpful representation in a new area of law. And I want to extend a special thanks to those of you who may be feeling that way, but chose to show up anyway. You are joining a whole ecosystem of change makers, and with your support, we are collectively changing the landscape for survivors of domestic violence. But first, we have this training. This training is divided into 3 key components so that after this brief orientation to the program, you'll learn first about the substantive aspects of the laws that are relevant to coerced debt and the different types of relief that are available. Next, you'll learn more about the procedural aspects by taking a closer look at the Chapter 521 hearing process. Finally, you'll learn about trauma-informed representation so that you're equipped to apply your new knowledge in a way that helps survivors feel well supported and empowered. So, to begin our orientation, let's take a look at the issue. In broad terms, we are looking to support survivors of domestic abuse by paying special attention to the economic abuse portion of the power and control wheel you see here. This diagram has been used by advocates for 40 years to help visualize the many tactics that abusers may use to maintain power and control over their victims. Taking a look at the numbers, economic abuse is terribly prevalent. 96% of survivors experience economic abuse, and 73% stay in abusive relationships longer due to financial concerns like coerced debt. Coerced debt, as a reminder, is a type of economic abuse that includes any debts taken out in the name of a victim by fraud, threat, or coercion. Now let's focus in on the economic impacts of this widespread issue. During the relationship, there may be job loss, damaged credit, debt accumulation, missed work, and lost opportunities for professional advancement. But even after leaving the relationship, there may also be a lack of access to funds at the same time that expenses for things like relocating to a safe place, legal fees, and therapy, and undivided living expenses are piling up. So what do we do when we put these numbers and practical realities together? Here, we actually started with pro bono. We posed some of these questions to a pro bono legal team that examined the issue and the law and offered us an unexpected but elegant place to start. With a new idea in hand, we went to advocating for slight changes in language that would allow survivors to access the same relief as victims of identity theft. Once the law was changed, we received generously supportive funding and used that funding to get to work designing and developing this program, which was launched just this April with an in-person training. Now, what I want you to see here is the number of organizations and institutions that have come together to turn this program into a reality. The pilot network of this program is extensive, and each organization has played an essential role in providing this service. These organizations span from policy to direct service to crisis work. And the staff of each of these organizations contributes to an environment where we hope the survivor will feel surrounded by effective care. In fact, if there's one image that I hope sticks with you from this introduction, it's this, where the power and control wheel has been replaced with this circle of support, always keeping the survivor centered and using trauma-informed communication to help the survivor see all of the many people who are supporting them, a team of support, rather than feeling passed from person to person. So what does the work look like, and how do these processes come together? Well, we start at the top with intake by a shelter advocate, and those advocates have gone through their own 4-hour training to help integrate this new service into their work. Thanks to this program, shelter advocates have now already begun screening for this issue, asking the people who contact them if this is a service that might be helpful for them. From there, advocates refer to the Texas Advocacy Project, which reviews the referral and matches the client with a pro bono attorney, like yourself. This means that before making their way to an attorney, the client will have made 2 supportive contacts and may be continuing or concurrently working on other legal issues with those contacts while they work on this case with you. So knowing where you fit into that circle of support, let's look more closely at your role through this program. It starts out by helping the client research the debt. You're going to start here by treating the client with respect and care, using those trauma-informed representation skills to help research and review the debt details with the client. These details are part of the evidence that you're going to be using in your case. After you've reviewed these details with the client, you're going to use all of those lawyering skills to help recommend a case plan. You're going to take the facts of the case and apply the law that you've learned through this training to figure out what the right course of action is for this specific client. Again, that means that you're going to use the debt details and the case facts to design a case plan that's tailored to your client's unique situation. In your packet and in the resources listed on our website for volunteers, you have a case planning document that you can use to help contribute and complete this part of the work. You're going to review this plan and your limited scope representation letter with your client. Your limited scope representation letter is also found on our resource page and includes checkboxes for you to use to go over each part of what you'll be contributing to help complete this case and what your client needs to contribute so that you can do that well. You're also going to help the client prepare the case. This is your final step before you actually go to the hearing. You're going to do this by following your case plan to help the client submit appropriate supporting documents like a police report, ID theft affidavit, or a consumer report dispute. Whatever you've decided in your case plan is appropriate, and you're going to help them prepare to testify. You're also going to draft their pleadings. Then, 30 days after you've made any disputes that were appropriate for your client, you're going to sign up and attend the 521 hearing. You're going to guide the client through questions to establish the case facts and the evidence at this hearing. You're also going to submit any exhibits and the prepared court order for the judge to sign. Finally, you're going to secure copies of that judgment before it's sealed. Then, after you have all of those documents and hopefully an order that the judge has signed declaring that your client is the victim of identity theft, you're going to go through, review these steps, and help the client mail those to their creditors. Depending on what your law firm allows, this may mean either drafting or simply reviewing a letter that the client has written to their creditors, bill collectors, and credit bureaus. It's going to be signed by the client, whether you have drafted it or the client has, and it's going to be marked with the client's return address. This is because when you mail the letters, your representation through this program has ended. So we want any further correspondence to go to the client and not to you. We are asking that if at all possible, you help to cover the cost of the mailing through your law firm so that this expense doesn't fall on the client. Finally, you're going to review your limited scope letter with the client and close the case. Now, as you go through all of this, there's much more detail provided in the substantive trainings, but we want you to know that you are supported by a team of legal experts who can help to answer any questions that you have along the way. Specifically, your next speaker, your next presenter, is Carla Sanchez Adams, who's a senior attorney at the National Consumer Law Center. She focuses on emerging issues in banking and payment systems and high cost lending. She's a contributor to NCLC's Consumer Banking and Payments Law Treaties. And before joining NCLC, she was a managing attorney at Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, which you may know as TRALA. And she assisted low-income Texans on issues related to debt collection, credit reporting, auto fraud, debt management, and other consumer-related disputes. She led a team of advocates who utilized a holistic approach to achieving economic security for victims of crime, including survivors of family violence. Carla is board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization in Consumer and Commercial Law and is a board member for the National Association of Consumer Advocates. Beyond that, she also serves on the American Bar Association's Commission on Domestic and Sexual Violence and the Texas State Bar's Consumer and Commercial Law section. We know that you'll enjoy her training, and we thank you for being here.